Have you ever felt like your family was slipping through your fingers? It's like everything that once felt stable and secure is suddenly swept up in a whirlwind of responsibilities, demands, and lack of time. The daily stress, the overload of tasks, and the arguments that seem to come out of nowhere gradually strip away the peace and tranquility of home. That cherished sense of harmony feels like it's drifting further away each day. And in the midst of this chaos, the desire to restore serenity and reclaim joy at home begins to grow. The worn-out routine starts showing signs of fatigue. Exhaustion dominates expressions, silence takes the place of light-hearted conversations, and moments of affection become scarce. It's easy to get lost in the rush, neglecting what truly matters. With the weight of everyday life, there's a realization that maybe something more is needed to restore family balance. Something that goes beyond simple adjustments to the routine. This leads to the idea of seeking help, a new hope that could bring relief and reconnect the family. That's when hiring a nanny started to make sense. Someone who could help carry the load, bring a fresh perspective, and inject renewed energy. Hiring a nanny seemed like the answer to sleepless nights, rushed meals, and the tensions that seemed to fill every corner of the house. With this new presence, a small spark of hope emerged. Would it be possible, with this help, to restore peace and rebuild the bonds that time had worn down? Expectations for the nanny's arrival were high. She wasn't just someone to take care of the kids. She was, in their minds, someone who would restore the lost balance. The idea of having external support brought a lightness that hadn't been felt in a long time. Each one began to imagine small breaths of relief. A quiet coffee break, a moment alone, a chance to take a deep breath and reconnect with inner peace. That was the plan, at least. With her arrival, the hope of transforming the home's atmosphere became more real each day. And it's in this setting of expectation and anticipation that the story truly begins. A story of searching for tranquility and harmony, one that would soon take an unexpected turn, revealing emotions no one could foresee. The nanny's arrival brought an unexpected freshness to the home. She was calm, welcoming, and carried a serenity that seemed to envelop the space like a cloak of peace. As soon as she walked in, her presence exuded something special, a tranquility that was almost tangible. It felt like the family had finally found someone who could calm the day-to-day storms and bring new hope to their worn-out routine. The children's curious glances quickly turned into smiles, as if sensing the change that was about to come. Her first interactions with the children were almost magical. With a warm and patient approach, she quickly gained their trust. The children, once restless, found in her a point of safety and affection. Those initial moments revealed the potential for a true connection, a bond that would be essential for the peace and tranquility everyone longed for. Gradually, the home began to transform into a place of harmony. For the parents, watching this relationship form was like seeing a scene of relief unfold. The nanny brought a sense of hope and relief they hadn't felt in a long time. Each gesture, each smile directed at the children filled the house with a renewed warmth, something that had been absent for a long time. There was a feeling that, finally, chaos was giving way to a calmer and more balanced routine, where peace was once again possible. Her presence started to reflect in small changes throughout the day. Mornings, once chaotic, now had a calmer rhythm. Nights, once filled with tension, became real moments of rest. The nanny seemed to have a gift for harmonizing the environment, and what was once a whirlwind of obligations became a sequence of moments filled with lightness. The family felt they were adjusting to a new dynamic, with the nanny as the key to a balance they had stopped imagining was possible. With this, the couple began to feel something they hadn't experienced in a long time: the ability to relax. Her presence allowed small breaths of peace and the feeling that perhaps harmony had returned to the home. Their trust in the nanny only grew, and it was comforting to know that someone was there to share responsibilities, to care for the children with the love and respect they held so dear. But, as with everything in life, when something seems too perfect, it's always wise to keep an extra eye open. As days went by, the nanny became more than just a helper. She seemed to be a vital part of the family's everyday life. In ordinary moments like family meals, she integrated naturally, and her presence brought a harmony the home hadn't felt in a long time. Breakfast was marked by smiles and light conversations, as if the worn-out routine was finally finding peace and tranquility. The environment was transforming, and that initial chaos felt like a distant memory. The children, who had once shown signs of restlessness, now displayed a newfound calmness. The nanny brought an organized routine and such a warm energy that the children felt safe and happy in her presence. Playtime, once quick and disorganized, now turned into moments of learning and fun. She taught values, patience, and promoted a space of affection that was visible in the children's smiles and light-heartedness. It wasn't just with the kids that this connection flourished. The couple, once so overwhelmed, began to rediscover small moments of togetherness. Her presence freed up precious time for them to strengthen their relationship, allowing them to do things that had once seemed impossible given their busy routine. The nanny brought new hope to the couple, a chance to reclaim the connection and partnership that had felt weakened by daily pressures. Their trust in her solidified more and more, and the sense of harmony spread throughout the house. She seemed to have a gift for balancing the family's needs, making each day lighter and more enjoyable. The parents began to relax more, confident that she would care for the children and the home with love. Each moment she spent with the family reinforced the idea that peace and safety were finally within everyone's reach. And with this new organized and harmonious routine, the home seemed to have finally found its balance. However, like a gentle breeze that hints at a distant storm, subtle signs began to appear. Despite everything seeming to fall into place, there was something subtle in the air. Something that, though imperceptible at first, would soon reveal its true impact on the family's life. Even with all the peace and tranquility the nanny had brought, something new was beginning to emerge. Small signs of discomfort began to appear, almost invisible but enough to spark a slight unease. She, who used to participate in everything, began to distance herself from certain activities. There were moments when, even though she was present, she seemed distant, wrapped in thoughts no one could reach. This subtle behavior, almost imperceptible, added a mysterious atmosphere to the family's once harmonious routine. These moments of detachment didn't go unnoticed. At certain times, she avoided glances, preferred silence, and even avoided some conversations that once seemed natural. The couple began to notice this change but hesitated to pay much attention to it, trying to brush it off as signs of fatigue or personal issues. The idea that something might be wrong was too uncomfortable to face directly, so they chose to ignore it, convincing themselves that everything was fine. As days went by, other behaviors caught their attention. Whispered phone conversations, quick and discreet glances, and a change in attitude around the couple became part of a new routine, one that was both intriguing and disturbing. The sense of harmony the nanny had brought seemed threatened by a shadow no one understood, and the trust they had placed in her was, little by little, beginning to be questioned. However, as is common in such situations, doubts were easily justified. Maybe it's just a phase, they thought. She must be going through something personal. The desire to keep the peace and tranquility outweighed any impulse to question her. After all, she had transformed the family's worn-out routine into something lighter and more organized. Who would want to see problems where there seemed to be none? But these small signs continued to pile up, like drops heralding an approaching storm. The discomfort was there, silent, growing each day, but still not strong enough to destabilize the new routine. Deep down, they all knew that something might surface, but they weren't yet ready to face the impact of such a discovery. The revelation came like an unexpected blow. It was an ordinary day, one of those where everything seems in place. But sometimes, it's in these moments of calm that life surprises us with the harshest truths. The slip-up was accidental. A message on the partner's phone, left open by mistake. Just one glance, and everything changed. That message contained undeniable proof that something serious was happening, something no one could have imagined. The impact was immediate, as if the ground had disappeared from under their feet. The feeling of betrayal began to spread, filling the body, heart, and mind. It was more than a mere discovery. It was a break in trust in its deepest form. The peace and tranquility the nanny had brought to the home were instantly shattered. The message revealed that she, who had earned the family's trust and become a comforting presence, was involved in something they had never expected. The depth of the betrayal was overwhelming. It wasn't just about the marital relationship, but something that touched the very structure of the family. The trust, once solid, now seemed an illusion. The emotional security the nanny had helped build was irreversibly shaken. This person, who had seemed like the answer to the family's problems, was, in fact, part of a pain no one had anticipated. It was hard to process that this betrayal wasn't simple. It was a double betrayal. Dealing with the double betrayal was almost unbearable. Trust had been broken not only with the partner but also with the nanny, someone they had entrusted with everything and who had now become a source of pain. It felt like being surrounded by lies, as if every moment of peace had been just a disguise for something much darker. The mind tried in vain to find an explanation, a reason, but nothing could justify what had been uncovered. In that moment, it became clear that nothing would be the same. The destruction of the bonds of trust brought with it a profound emotional confrontation, shaking the foundations of everything the family believed to be true. The love and affection that once filled the home were now tainted by disillusionment and disappointment. It was the beginning of a long path to try to understand and, perhaps one day, rebuild everything that had been destroyed. The consequences of the betrayal soon manifested, reverberating throughout the family. The children, always sensitive to the surrounding environment, quickly sensed that something was wrong. The peace and tranquility they once felt at home were replaced by palpable tension, which began to reflect in their behavior. The anxiety was visible in their eyes, and uneasiness crept into their routines. How could they explain to them that the family security they had known had been shaken so deeply? The changes in the children's behavior were a glaring warning. They were more restless, with an anxiety that seemed never-ending. The home, once a space of harmony and protection, had now become a place marked by tension and distrust. Maintaining emotional stability for them was an enormous challenge, especially while the pain of betrayal was still so fresh for the adults. There was an urgent need to protect the children from the emotional scars this situation could leave behind. Maintaining inner peace and emotional balance while dealing with one's own pain proved to be a difficult task. There were moments when the burden seemed too heavy, but the love for the children gave strength to carry on. It was necessary to restore some semblance of normalcy, even if it was almost an illusion. However, the presence of betrayal was like a constant shadow, and somehow, they would need to help the children understand that trust had been broken without leaving them feeling insecure forever. The greatest dilemma was finding a way to explain to the children what was happening without causing trauma or lasting emotional scars. They needed to understand that, despite everything, the family's love remained intact, even if the bonds had been temporarily affected. It was a daunting task because how do you explain to a child that sometimes, even those closest to us can disappoint us? This challenge required patience, love, and, above all, honesty. In the end, the struggle was to ensure that even amidst the storm, the children felt protected. Despite the pain of betrayal and emotional strain, the commitment to the children's emotional protection became even stronger. Keeping peace within the home, even if fragmented, was essential to ensure the children wouldn't carry the weight of this situation forever. And so, the journey to rebuild the family's structure began, though uncertain and painful. After the devastating impact of the discovery, came the inevitable need to rebuild, or at least try to. The healing process began with deep reflection on what truly mattered. Amid the pain, the question emerged: is it possible to forgive and restore harmony, or would it be better to take a new, independent path? This persistent doubt accompanied each step of the journey of self-worth, a journey that demanded strength and courage to rediscover who she really was and what she deserved for herself and her children. Each day was a small internal battle. For many, the start of healing involves practices of inner peace, like meditation and activities that promote reflection. Some find comfort in books on resilience and self-love. Titles like The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown or The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle can be valuable companions on this path. Gathering the strength to move forward, even without answers for everything, was a constant challenge but essential for taking the first steps toward a new beginning. Self-love became the most important foundation at this point. Without it, any attempt at rebuilding would be empty. Understanding that self-worth is not selfish but a necessity for becoming whole again emotionally. It was a daily exercise of reclaiming one's dignity and remembering that inner peace was non-negotiable. This was a period of reconnecting with one's essence, with values and boundaries that needed to be respected at all costs. Another fundamental aspect was the realization that while trust could be rebuilt, it would never be the same, and that's okay. Accepting this reality was not easy, but necessary to continue the journey of healing. Knowing that rebuilt trust would come in a more cautious, perhaps less idealistic form, was a step toward a life more realistic and less dependent on others' expectations. In this process, the lesson was clear. Trust, yes, but always with a deep respect for one's peace and discernment. Thus, each step forward in the healing process became a personal victory. Even with lingering doubts and emotional scars, each small step brought a sense of relief and liberation. Emotional rebuilding, however slow, was a testament to the strength growing within her day by day. And so, with determination and self-worth, she began to envision a future where, perhaps, she could experience peace and harmony once again. In the end, something became clear. Every pain and disappointment carries valuable lessons, even if it's hard to see them at first. This experience showed that self-love is the foundation of everything. Before any relationship, it's necessary to respect oneself and recognize one's own worth. This was a discovery that helped her understand that to offer peace and tranquility to anyone else, she needed first to cultivate it within herself. In life's journey, we only find true harmony when it flows from within. The concept of trust also went through a profound transformation. Trust was no longer seen as a blind surrender, but as something to be built on mutual respect and authenticity. To trust, yes, but in a more conscious and less idealized way. After all, broken trust doesn't mean the end of the ability to believe in someone. Rather, it's an invitation to be cautious. This lesson underscored the importance of listening to one's instincts and not ignoring the subtle signs life shows us. Furthermore, this painful journey highlighted the importance of resilience. The ability to rebuild oneself after disappointment is an act of courage and self-love. With each challenge faced, new strengths were discovered, along with the certainty that, even in the most adverse situations, it's possible to rise and find a new purpose to continue. Resilience doesn't erase scars, but it allows us to use them as reminders of overcoming the seemingly insurmountable. Seeking inner peace became the ultimate goal of this experience. Not the idealized peace once associated with the home's harmony, but a peace that comes from accepting what has passed and having the serenity to move forward. This peace is built day by day, in conscious choices and the practice of letting go. Embracing this new perspective, she learned that peace is an internal state, dependent much more on our relationship with ourselves than on external circumstances. In the end, it was clear that, even amid pain and disappointment, life goes on. And this continuity brings with it the possibility of starting over, of building a new reality, more authentic and aligned with our values. This was a journey of pain and healing, but also of learning and self-discovery. Now, with a more mature view of love, trust, and peace, it was time to look to the future with hope, ready for new experiences. Ultimately, this entire story turns into an invitation for reflection. It's not just about a personal experience of pain and betrayal, but about the strength we find within ourselves to rebuild and move forward. And it's in this rebuilding that we become stronger, wiser, and, above all, more connected to our true value. Each of us has faced, or may face, moments when life demands a complete transformation, and this doesn't have to be the end but the beginning of a new journey. Now, take a moment to think. Have you gone through a situation that required you to rebuild your life? A new beginning that seemed impossible at first? Maybe you're going through it right now. How do you cope with that pain, that feeling of loss? These moments teach us to hold on to self-love and inner peace, to find the strength that seems hidden deep within but has always been with us. Sometimes, it's in suffering that we find the answers we've been searching for. I invite you to share your own story or thoughts in the comments. Sharing your experiences and lessons can be a source of strength for others facing similar challenges. After all, we're not alone. Everyone faces challenges, and there's something powerful in knowing that our journey can inspire and support others. Your story has value, and your words can be the balm someone needs to find their path to peace. If you felt moved by this story, if you related to any part of it, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss more content like this. Let's continue on this journey of self-discovery and resilience together. Each video brings a new lesson, a new push to cultivate peace and self-love amid life's storms. And finally, reflect. How far are you willing to go to cultivate peace and self-love, even in the face of the greatest challenges? Comment below, share your thoughts, and be inspired by the mantra, I attract strength, peace, and wisdom to face all challenges. This is a continuous journey, and you're invited to be a part of it.